Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart with Mike Big Buck Hoffner. Well, it's party time on the Q1 Buck Poll. We're going to be giving away all kinds of prizes at our regional parties, and that kicks off in Coldwater January the 24th. And we invite you to bring your racks, or if you're just a guest, didn't get a deer this year, come on by. We got guest prizes too to give away.
Yeah, I just had somebody stop by the office. Greg Harrell, former teacher at Quincy, stopped by today to show me his rack that he got from his son for Christmas. Had it dipped in the camel pattern, European mount. Pretty cool thing to see. We'll have plenty of those to show you at our parties.
And then we continue on with our parties. Saturday, January 26th, we'll be at the Hunt and Time Expo up at the Deltaplex in Grand Rapids. And then just go online, q1buckpoll.com. I got all the party dates listed that are all confirmed. We are ready to go. On this week's Q1 Buck Poll, we've got Michelle Rosen. She's with the DNR's Diagnostic Lab, which is at MSU, and she's going to be talking about aging. In particular, I mean, they got bear, they got all kinds of different animals that they age there for scientific reasons.
Yeah, well, I guess the secret to success is understanding teeth. And so for my son, who's a dentist, we'll get a lesson on how to age deer.
Does that mean that we could age? Well, we know you're old.
I'm missing a few here and there.
Exactly.
I'm an old buck.
Well, this old buck can eat. I know that. And this week on the show, we've got Soaring Eagle's executive chef. It's going to be Kyle Cassidy. And he's going to be talking and cooking up some bacon-larded venison loin with pumpernickel bread pudding. We also have Tony LaPratt on this week, and he's going to talk about how to stop poachers.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've had some interesting conversations with people in the community since Tony's been on our segment. He's offered some great insight to deer hunting, and this is another insight on how to prevent poaching.
Well, and you know, poaching is not just deer. It's a year-round problem all throughout, not just Michigan, but all throughout the country.
Right, and he's got a great way to stop it.
All right, we got all that and more, and of course, we got bucks with Big Buck Hoffner here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Stay with us.
The Q1 Buck Poll is sponsored by these participating businesses who support the great outdoors in Michigan.
Back here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Again, I invite you to go to q1buckpoll.com. We've got all kinds of things happening on the site, including all the deer, just like the deer that Big Buck Hoffner is going to show you here in just a second. But you can win a Manitoba whitetail hunt.
And not only the hunts, but I'm waiting for who's going to get the ATV grizzly.
Oh, that's going to happen March 2nd at the Soaring Eagle. We've got some times and dates on there for you for all of the regional parties. And with that, it's time for Bucks with Buck Hoffner.
Here we go, Tim. Let's start out with Stephen Phillip from East Leroy, bringing in an 8-pointer. His score was 45. Kurt Wank from Augusta brings in an 8-pointer. His score was 38 3/4. Chris Vatter from Kingston with an 8-point buck. Up in the thumb area, score 45 3/4. And Bill Sisler from Delton with a 12-pointer, and his score was 46.
You know, each and every week I get a chance to talk to the DNR. Well, this week I go to the MSU Diagnostic Lab up at East Lansing. And I had a chance to talk to Michelle Rosen. You know, very scientific when we're talking about aging, not just deer, of course, but all different types of animals.
You know, I think it's a neat concept. And I mean, that's also part of the conversations we hear from time to time. People bring in their deer and they say, how old is it? And they take a guess at it. Was it 4 years old, 5 years old? Well, they tell you the scientific way to do it, and that's how you get your real truth.
Exactly. Same thing with bear and a lot of the smaller animals out there. It all helps in how we develop and maintain the natural wildlife here in the great state of Michigan. Here's my interview with Michelle Rosen.
Well, here at the lab, we age for bear species. So that includes the bear, includes the bobcat, includes the fisher, and the marten that we get from the check stations when the hunters harvest the animals. They take them to a check station. They have their pelt sealed with a plastic seal that looks something like this. And then we collect the head. The head comes to us. We pull the teeth, and we process the teeth here at the lab. Mm-hmm. And for example, we have a bear here, and there's a tooth next to each one that we get from the skulls that we use to age. And they're very particular to which tooth we pull for which species, because it's easier or harder to age the animal depending on which tooth we get. And if the tooth is in a good condition or bad condition too, it depends on how well we can age the animal.
Now, how many bear, let's say, would you bring in here to do aging in a year?
We get around 2,000 more or less bear teeth that we get from the hunters every season.
How about the other animals? Is it similar numbers?
Bobcat, we get around 600 to 700. Fisher and marten each are around 300 or so every season.
So here at the lab, so you know the teeth come here, the skull comes here like it is right now, and then what is the process that you do?
Well, first we have to pull the tooth, then we clean the tooth usually, and depending on what species it is, we will either decalcify it, so we'll remove the calcium, makes it kind of rubbery and flimsy, and we cut it on a machine that typically cuts tissue for histology purposes or looking at if there's disease in it. But we can cut really thin sections with it, same technique, and get slides that way or sections that way. If it's a bear tooth or a bobcat tooth, we cut them when they're hard. And the bear teeth, we look at tetracycline markers, and the bobcat teeth, we can go ahead and decalcify them right away.
All right, so that is the scoop and how it all works here at the DNR Wildlife Disease Lab here at MSU. Michelle Rosen's been our guest. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, we've got more coming up. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. We're fortunate to live in the great state of Michigan with millions of acres of recreational land, 11,000 inland lakes, and for a lot of people, it's a dream come true to own their own piece of property. Today, I've got Randy Steck with us. He's a Senior Vice President of Sales and Customer Relations at Greenstone Farm Credit Services. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tim.
Now, Greenstone has been a proud sponsor of the Q1 Buck Poll for a number of years, and you've really helped thousands of Michigan residents own a piece of recreational land.
Yes, we have provided financing for thousands of folks across the state, and we are very happy to be part of that dream building process.
And Greenstone has a number of outdoor enthusiasts on staff, but you also have locations all over the state too.
Yes, our 31 offices are conveniently located to the bulk of the customers that we do business with, and we encourage those folks to stop in and talk to us. We share a lot of the same values and beliefs that the outdoors community has, and many of our staff actually enjoy the same activities.
Randy, there's a lot of different programs too, aren't there?
Yes, we can provide financing for up to 30 years and a fixed rate of interest for as little as 20% down.
Well, Randy, when we were talking outside, you talked about loans as long as 30 years, as little as 20% down. You've got all different types of programs, but what sets Greenstone apart?
Really, it's the people that work here at Greenstone and the solutions that we can provide to folks and helping them with their dream purchase. And whether it's, a lot of these customers have not had a lot of experience in purchasing real estate or dealing with a lender, so we can walk them through that process and really provide a lot of value, expertise and advice to help folks through that process.
And if I want to learn more and get more information?
You can check us out on the web, give us a call, or stop by any one of our 31 offices throughout the state of Michigan.
And he talks about the 31 offices. That's 31 locations where you can register your buck or doe in the Q1 Buck Poll. They can take care of you. Randy, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
All right, Randy Steck's been with us from Greenstone Farm Credit Services. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Well, before we cook up some venison, I will tell you this. I'm giving you a lot of credit right now, Buck Hoffner, because a lot of people say, I just love seeing the deer from around the state, and of course, that's your segment.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's big bucks on Q1 Buck Poll. So let's start rolling with Aubrey Comment from Marine City, bringing in an 11-pointer. The score was 50. Stephen Waldron from Vicksburg with a 10-pointer. His score was 50.5. And Kelly James from Sturgis brings in a 12-pointer with a score of 51.
Today we're at the Soaring Eagle Casino. We've got Chef Kyle Cassidy with us. He's going to be making up some bacon-larded venison loin with pumpernickel bread pudding, and it's a meal in itself, and it's delicious. We're at the Soaring Eagle Casino cooking up something delicious in the steakhouse kitchen. I've got Kyle Cassidy with us. Welcome to the Buck Poll.
Thank you.
Now, we are going to be making up something that just sounds delicious. What's up today?
We're going to be preparing a bacon-larded venison loin with a pumpernickel bread pudding. We'll start out by assembling the bread pudding.
Okay.
We have 5 cracked eggs here, and we're going to just whisk in some half and half.
It all mixed up good.
We have some sauteed shallots and garlic. And then we have dried pumpernickel bread here. We're going to place this in this mixture and allow it to sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and we're just trying to allow the pumpernickel absorb that
absorb
liquid.
all the liquid.
You got it. All right, after this is set, we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. We have some Italian sausage, dried cherries, and some sage and parsley, both freshly chopped.
And that's going to give it that little bit of extra, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. Okay, everything's combined. We're going to place this in a greased pan. Want to hand me that piece of tin foil there?
I can do that.
We'll cover this with tin foil, place this in a preheated oven.
And how long are you going to leave it in there?
We're going to bake this for about a half hour, and then we're going to remove the tin foil and allow it to bake for another 10 minutes, and we'll just get that nice crispy, crunchy crust on top. Okay, all right, next we're going to stuff the venison loin. We're just going to make 2 incisions right here long, horizontally, about the depth of a width of a piece of bacon.
Now you're not cutting all the way through, are you?
Correct, just enough so that we can get the bacon in there.
Okay.
We're going to open this up.
And you got uncooked bacon for it.
Correct.
That way it'll cook as the meat cooks. Alright. So the bacon's in there. That's the larded stuff part, is that right?
Right, correct. What we're trying to do is just introduce fat. Venison's very lean. We're trying to get some fat in there so it's a more rounded flavor.
Okay.
Next, we're just going to tie this with some butcher's twine. We're doing this for 2 reasons. One, so that we have a uniform shape, and when it cooks, it'll be more uniform. And to hold the bacon in there. We're just going to start out with a square knot, and then we're going to tie this all the way down, about 1 inch apart on the loops.
Okay, so the next step is now we're going to cook the loin.
Correct.
And how are we going to do that?
We're going to pan sear this. We're going to season it with some salt and pepper and just get a nice crust on the outside.
On both sides,
Yep.
and then that way it'll be tender on the inside?
Oh, you know it.
All right, now we're going to go to the grill and we're going to sear our loin, right?
Correct.
All right, let's see it.
We have a preheated saute pan here. We're just going to put a little vegetable oil in here. We want to make sure that this is nice and hot. Maybe seeing a little smoke when we start out. And we're just going to place this in here.
And we're talking about searing, about how long? And obviously it's going to depend upon the thickness of your loin.
Right. And what we're just looking for is a nice color, and it can vary. Usually 2 to 3 minutes on each side, and we're going to do this all the way around. We're not just going to do the top and the bottom. We're going to do all 4 sides.
Top. Okay.
You got it. Yep. And we'll get a nice caramel flavor all through. Control your heat. You just don't want to always be on high.
You know, as we talk about a lot of these different recipes, again, we go back to don't overcook venison because, again, it's a lean meat. Now, even though we've got the lard or bacon, to help us out a little bit. Again, you just don't want to overcook it.
Right. We're looking for medium rare here, which is going to be right around 130.
Okay. And you put a little salt and pepper, and I think everything they do here at Soaring Eagle, got to season it all up.
Yes, that's the key.
Okay, now it's time to make the apple cider sauce, and how are we going to start this?
We're going to start with a little oil again, and add our shallots and our diced apples. And we just want to saute this until they're tender and the shallots are just starting to be translucent.
How long?
2 to 3 minutes.
It's
going to continue to cook when we add the apple cider, so it's not imperative that they're cooked all the way through.
Okay. You know, we've talked about shallots quite a bit in all the cooking segments here at the Soaring Eagle. Available at the store?
Yes, most definitely. They're I find them at Meijer all the time if I need them.
Are there different varieties at all?
Yes, but what you're going to find is just typically the red shallot.
Okay.
Okay. Our shallots are starting to become translucent. We're just going to add our apple cider and a cinnamon stick.
Ooh, and you can't go wrong. Apple, cinnamon, shallots.
And we're just going to allow this to reduce by 2/3, and it should be good to go.
Well, it looks like we're ready to go. Are we ready to plate now, or you got one other ingredient?
I got one more ingredient. We're just going to take a couple tablespoons of butter, break it up, and just swirl it into this sauce.
Well, and you know, as you're taking that string off, you could really tell how tender that loin is.
Yes, it's very tender. And we have the string removed, and we're going to ready to slice this.
All right.
And we just want to cut across the grain.
And why?
We're trying to shorten those grain. They're the muscle structure, so it's not as chewy.
Okay.
Venison's very tender on its own anyways, but it's just, it'll be that much more tender. Okay.
And you can tell it's not overcooked. You got a lot of pink in there. Put on top of the bread pudding.
Then we can sauce this. Just some of the apple cider shallot.
Well, it looks like a done deal now.
Yes, we're ready to eat.
I'm ready to eat. Here, come on, I'm gonna grab some of that stuff right here. All right, just dig in. Look at that. Got a little sweet flavor. Bacon sets it off. The bread pudding sets it off. Delicious. Fine job, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, Kyle Cassidy's been with us here. A chef here at the Soaring Eagle, and I'll tell you right now, the recipes are all online. They're delicious. Try it out. Instead of just making some venison burger and slapping it on the grill, here's something you can try at home. Takes about an hour and will feed the whole family. Again, we're at the Soaring Eagle Casino for the Q1 Buck Pull. I'm Tim Hart. We have some fabulous prizes we're giving away, including a Dart and Terminator crossbow, and I shouldn't say a because we've got about 15 of these to give away. We've got CVA Wolf rifle packages we're giving away. We've got the final prize party. Everybody who has entered the contest has a chance to win the Yamaha Grizzly 350 ATV from Custom Connection Motorsports in Battle Creek.
An absolute smorgasbord of opportunity for our hunters.
But you got to be there. Right?
Exactly.
And with that, we've got some people that are going to be there because we've got them on the show here. Here's Big Buck Hoffner with some more bucks here on the Q1 Buck Pull.
Let's start out with Steve Vinson from Colon, Michigan, bringing in a 10-pointer, great score of 52. Clinton Penmer from Montgomery with a 12-pointer, the score 53.5. And Mike Kottman from Quincy, Michigan, brings in a 9-pointer with 53.5.
Big bucks, that's what you'll find here on the Q1 Buck Pull. And somebody that has found a lot of big bucks over his career, and that's Tony LaPrade.
And I'll tell you what, I've been very, very impressed. Had a lot of conversations with other people in our community. They're very impressed with Tony's knowledge.
How do you prevent poachers? Here's some techniques.
Hi guys, I'd like to talk about poaching. Poaching is nothing nice, but it's the negative part of deer hunting. And unfortunately, there's people out there that are going around at night and poaching and shining deer and harvesting these deer from hard-working people like you and me. Now guys, this ain't right and we can stop it. All we need to do is team up. And let me explain some of the things I've been doing to help in my area. I started a co-op with a bunch of farmers in the area a couple years ago. In the very first week, we caught 9 poachers. Now, the shining and the poaching has dropped dramatically in our area. These guys also, what a plus is we have stopped a bunch of the trash that people throw off at night. Around the thing at night, people would throw garbage. We've caught them and had them arrested. So the whole area is getting cleaned up. Now, one of the things I've done is I had these signs made up. It says, "Poachers beware, we are watching you, neighborhood patrol and watch area." These we stick in our yard around September. And now it lets people know that all the neighbors in the area are watching their area. Then I had these magnets made up, and I'll show you some later, but these hook on our truck. So at night when someone's shining, we drive up to where they're shining, and it's totally legal up to 11 o'clock, except for the month of November. And as long as they're doing everything okay, all we do is pull up, we write down some information about the vehicle and everything, and we pass them, which everybody has to because they're going only about 10 miles an hour, and they see this sign on the back of the truck. They just know that they have been watched, okay? Now, another thing we're doing is we're using camera systems, and these Buckeye camera systems are great. What we are doing is placing these on lanes and putting them on our trucks and stuff, and we park them in lanes, and at 11 o'clock at night you can't shine. Now anybody that drives down that road on these roads where there's no homes or nothing, this thing fires up and takes a picture of their truck, their vehicle, and stuff like that. And we know they're up to no good because there's nothing you're supposed to be doing down there at 11 o'clock at night. Now we got an idea where our problem is. And what's neat about this camera system, it sends the transmitter, that picture, 5 miles up to 5 miles away, and the picture instantly is shot into this box. This box now would call my cell phone and let me know a picture was just taken. Now I can react. So I can be laying in bed, and in one of my lanes, this camera's set up, you drive through that lane, it photographs your vehicle and rings my phone, just like that. That's how we're catching poachers. And we are setting these up all over our area to find out who's roaming around at night where they don't belong. So now, you see these vehicles, you do not confront these people. That's the last thing we're after. What we're after is just to get the information, write down the time, the road, etc. at a distance, and then call the wrap room. Let them do their job. You do not want to confront these people. And poachers, beware. I'm Tony LaPratte, and we're watching you from Ultimate Land Management.
Well, as we've talked about, great prizes, great fun. We're going to have a great time. Go to the website. If you missed any of the past TV episodes, you can check those out online. But again, we've got all kinds of things online for you to take a look at q1buckpole.com.
Tell you what, Timmy, it's party time. Let's go out and enjoy ourselves.
And don't forget, register for the Manitoba Whitetail Hunt. It's free, and we're giving it away March 2nd, also at the Soaring Eagle Casino. For Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Thanks for watching this week's edition of the Q1 Buck Poll. Whenever you're out in the woods, be safe.
Young Timmy, the Catholic Timmy needs to go to confession. Folks, send him to confession.
For all the times
Father
I have
Hoffner will
said,
hear your confession.